Champ Select coming in, Lysandra being taken away and Fizz. But as you're talking about Cacao, I mean, he has been sort of a barometer for his team, you have to say. And they had a very easy run, did IG, streaming ahead to a 6-0 start. But then just recently against Vici Gaming and, of course, EDG, I believe it was. Yes, it was just afterwards. Slaughtered in those matchups, which is just not something you expect to see. It seems like this team is more about snowballing and achieving victory or falling apart.
Yeah, and they got off to that start with Pokemon and Rookie in their lineup that we're seeing. So they were 6-0. They brought in Zatai and Save for one series, fell apart against Vici and tried to swap it back over and just couldn't get that same synergy that they looked like in the first game. Looks like they've brought back Rookie and Pokemon for this matchup, so it will be interesting to see how they perform.
Yeah, and there are a few things that have slipped through the ban phase as they did come through. Of course, Tristana and Cassidy being taken off the board. Can't let that Cassidy through. Flandre is ridiculous on that. Rek'Sai Jarvan being taken off the board as well, but Nara's available. Janna got through as well. Flandre's locked that one in for Ella. Beast looking at the Lee Sin and Rumble in the hands of Pokemon. And Pokemon has been branching out away from these super tanks. You were mentioning this to me earlier, picking up the Aurelias and the Rumbles, but we'll have to see whether he can actually make it work because, of course, IG not the greatest record recently, and Barker has his Xerath.
Yeah, so that's the one that was confusing me why they weren't going for it earlier, and especially if Rookie takes something like an Azir into it, that would just absolutely baffle me after we've seen Xerath destroy Azir in lane. I hope Pokemon is comfortable on this. We've seen him play a couple of Rumble games. He hasn't looked too bad, but hasn't looked exactly on point. More of a pick away from Flandre, you would have to say, just going with one of the strong meta picks. Probably would have preferred to see him on that Gnar in this game.
Yeah, well, exactly. And Pokemon is very good at setting up for his team, plays a lot of these team fighters. Gnar really suits that style, but Kid's going to lock in the Corki here as well. And I'm incredibly excited to see this coming through because it does mean that Rookie can pick up an AD there in the mid lane, of course, with Rumble there as well, means that you mix up that damage a lot as well. But if Rookie does go for something that's magic damage, then they're going to have an incredibly magic-heavy team.
Yeah, and if anyone isn't slumping on their lineup, it is Kid. He has gone from strength to strength, has looked terrific.
Oh, yeah.
Also, Cacao having a Lee Sin, that's one of his comfort picks, being able to pick that up. But they've just given away a very strong lineup over the other side. They've even let the Nunu through, so this is just a lot of control coming out of a Snake lineup. We've seen Vici last series play a very, very similar setup, and through ward control and objective control, they were just able to push through the mid game. Maybe lacking on a little bit of damage, but they get a nice hyper carry through for Crystal. Maybe something like that Draven could go insane.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes because, of course, that Blood Boil going to be ridiculous. And they have their choice. I mean, Tristana's banned away, but there are plenty of hyper carries. Even a Caitlyn would work out here in the hands of Crystal because you avoid a lot of that mid-game slump by giving her extra AD with those shields from Janna, and you also have that Blood Boil from Nunu as well. So very, very important. Over the other side, Invictus Gaming are looking to counterpick themselves once again.
Yeah, so they've taken that Azir into Xerath matchup. See how it works out. Barker, of course, a very good Xerath. Rookie can perform on lots of different champions in the mid lane. Is one of those people that has quite a deep champion pool, everything from TF to a couple of assassins. I like the Morgana pickup, going more team fight focus, trying to get people locked down on top of that equalizer. They've got a lot of repositioning that can come out, so not bad. If they go with Sivir here, I think they actually do lack on damage in the late game. If this goes anywhere past 35, 40 minutes, they definitely aren't in a position to, I guess, match the damage that will come out. So looks like they're swapping away from that one. They're hovering over the Draven, and that would be not lacking in damage whatsoever.
It'll also be the most exciting thing to watch. Crystal's Draven once again. And when this guy picks up this champion, man, it's ridiculous. And there was a little bit of smack talk going on in the champion select, and I think Crystal's just saying, yeah, no, none of this anymore, guys. I'm just going to throw axes at you.
Yeah, he certainly is. He needs to be careful of Cacao. Cacao actually is pretty famous for not going for the traditional insect with the ward hop. He looks for more flanks and trying to get behind people, so looks to kick people back through their team. So if Crystal can avoid that, there is a lot of potential zone control and damage they can put down, but it's also a very unforgiving team comp in the fact that if he drops an axe, that's a lot of the damage that they're relying on.
Yeah, that's very true. Even with the Blood Boil and the Janna shield as well. But this is Crystal, and this guy is so comfortable on Draven. really able to predict where those axes are going to go. He moves fluidly in order to pick those up. It's fantastic to see, and so we'll see whether he can demonstrate that yet again against arguably one of his most difficult lane opponents in Kid and Kitties.
Yeah, Kid and Kitties have been on point throughout. I think that they have a fairly passive lane in a Corki Morgana. Corki, of course, likes to get aggressive, but Morg really doesn't add much to this lane.
Yep.
We'll just be able to get that added bonus AD from the Janna and just CS at will. I think that the junglers really will look to make an impact to this and get going pretty early.
Yeah. So we'll see whether they do manage to lock it down. But having Flandre, who is just such a fantastic teleport user and aggressive player, this champion will work out in every facet of his playstyle. Mini Na is just horrible to deal with, harasses you down all the time. You've got Hyper there stacking up, getting all that bonus damage as well. So then he turns in to his Mega Gnar form and can just crush a team fight in the way that Flandre is known to do.
Yeah, exactly. And Flandre, you mentioned the teleport usage. You can't mention Flandre without the early home guards as well. He does like to pick those up, and he teleports at will. So looking to see if he can get himself around the map. I guess he won't have as much impact damage-wise early as what Pokemon will, but definitely will provide that CC.
Yeah, and we'll see whether Snake can effectively avoid those equalizer fights around Dragon that we talk about oh so much, of course. Rumble is just fantastic in those mid-game stages. When he manages to pick up that Haunting Guys, perhaps those Sorcerer Shoes as well, just really, really scary to have to deal with that. But with the likes of Draven on their side and the fact that they can zone out with a lot of this Xerath poke as well, I could imagine that Snake's probably fairly happy to go for some sort of fight early on.
Yeah, I think that Snake will be happy to fight early on without getting in there, getting in the face, trying to have some aggressive counter jungling as well, get Cacao out of the game. But yeah, I think that they'll look to do it.
Yeah, and we'll see whether they do manage to. In-game, we do actually have a pause beginning this map, ladies and gentlemen, just letting you know. So we're just going to have a chat about these team comps just for a little bit longer as we get into this match. But I am a little bit worried about the Morgana pickup just because they are into a Draven, and it gets very, very frightening when you've got this sort of passive laner that doesn't do all that much apart from sort of disengage. You can land that Freak Dark Binding as well, really line up the Phosphorus Bomb. But apart from that, not going to be helping out too much with that Black Shield.
Yeah, no, but in lane, maybe not, but Morgana is one of the few hard counters to Janna as soon as Jarvan gets taken off the board. Lissandra is probably the only other one. So we'll ensure that Cacao can fly in there with a Black Shield on and not be affected by all this zoning, slowing, pushbacks that can come through. And they also don't have that much magic damage, with the exception of Baka, to break that Black Shield early on.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
I do like the pickup in regards to how it will play out around these Dragon fights. It's very important to be able to get through the zone control and get to the two important carries.
Yeah, now that I think about it as well, as soon as Beast comes in for a gank, he's going to want to throw out the Ice Ball, but that's probably not going to break through a shield because he's going to be going tanky, and it's not going to have any effect at all.
Yeah, we've also seen, I guess, Nunus go for a couple of different paths, whether they max Consume or Ice Ball, so we'll keep you updated on that one. But it does look like the pause has ended.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll be getting into this game very soon. But I'm incredibly excited, and it's all on the line here because Snake really want to get to that top 2 position, really solidify their position at the top of the LPL at the moment. Whereas Invictus Gaming, they need to fight back against a team that they can prove themselves against, because their run for the first 3 games, we spoke about this a lot, is that, you know, haven't been all that strong. But we're going to get onto the Rift. We are onto the Rift, ladies and gentlemen, with Invictus Gaming taking on Snake. And IG hanging out here, just forming a line, as is Snake here as well. And Invictus Gaming on the blue side for the first game. Snake picking up the red as Flandre already trading with Pokemon. Takes him down to half health on his own. And this is what we were talking about. Flandre is so aggressive. Yeah, and Nant in the mini form just has a very strong level 1, able to chase with that Boomerang. So going to harass a lot on this Rumble. Actually have Ella and Kid meeting up as well. Bit of a face check coming through here as well as Crystal just throws a spinning axe onto Kid. He also takes half of his health. Invictus Gaming struggling in the health bar department. If we have a look at the graph as far as damage done to champions, I think that Snake are most definitely winning. Yeah, and it's also an awkward timing because of the way the minion... the timing of the minion wave spawning, so will actually mean that they can get a little bit of a quick push going, actually electing to go for the Gromp on the side of Snake, so they'll have that pretty much completely for free, and IG won't be able to push out the bottom lane. No, because Kid, of course, had to go back to base. Didn't pop the potion, which is definitely something to note here. As Beast going to be consume smarting away this red buff. And sort of mirrored starts here for both of our junglers, apart from the different colored buffs.
Yeah, certainly is. One, sorry, Cacao opting to start on that Gromp to just get the extra damage going through. Lee Sin jungles extremely well, as does Nunu, so they'll both fly around their jungle relatively quickly. But Crystal looking to abuse this early level 2.
Yeah, Crystal managing to pick that up from the Gromp, and you can just see, with that shield coming through from Janna, just so much damage onto Crystal.
Yeah, and Cacao actually going relatively low after his first buff, so look for him to, I guess, try and heal his way back up. Beast, on the other hand, Nunu just jungles so well in the new jungle. Even with how much damage the smaller creeps does, just able to use that consume and really keep himself topped off.
Yeah, Crystal continuing to push out this wave here on the bottom side of the map. Beast going a little bit low in that jungle, but we can see on the top side, Flandre about to transform into that Mega Gnar and has been shoving out this wave. Pokemon doing okay though.
Yeah, able to just CS with Gnar. Not going to have much trouble for Gnar in the early stage of the game. Gnar will be able to harass him out of lane, but as soon as he's able to pick up those double pen items, we'll be able to, I guess, start trying to bully back a little bit.
You know, see whether Pokemon can play a little bit more aggressively as the minions get walloped to death there on the top side. And Flandre effectively shoves that wave all the way into the tower. Man, Kid and Kitties are just suffering under here.
Yeah, they certainly are. They're behind half CS at this point in the game, so always good to look at that CS in a percentage mark, and Crystal has started his campaign to build it up. However, in the mid lane, Rookie is really taking it to Baka on Xerath, has continued to shove this lane in, using his mana to really push that one out, and he's built up himself up a nice little 5 CS lead as well.
It is early days, but that is not what we've been seeing coming through in this matchup. So far, it's been Xerath's just decimating Aziz in this matchup as far as the 1v1 is concerned, just because of that extra range being so useful. Snake actually taking an unfavorable trade down here on the bottom side.
Yeah, so Corky's always going to be strong in lane, and we'll be able to consistently go toe-to-toe with this Draven, especially if they take the Black Shield into account, so there's no knock-ups coming through compared to a Dark Binding. In the mid lane, if we just touch on it a little bit more, I think that Azir is fine the first couple of levels. It's really after about level 7 that Xerath starts taking over, just when he has some points in that queue. So not surprised to see that it is going this way. Just expected Baka to be able to CS a little bit more effectively, as Cacao actually spots out an early pink ward, so that's good for him. He's going to be able to pick that one up.
They're going to head over to the Scuttle Crab here as well, as Beast is going to set down another ward. Cacao notices it and disappears before he can do anything.
Yeah, doesn't want to be consistently slowed by that Nunu this early on with all the support that can come out. Probably doesn't want to elect into an even fight, but this might be the first gank. Yeah,
Kid actually taking a lot of damage, forced to use that Valkyrie. Beast just going to continue around the drive by Nunu.
Yeah, it certainly is just looking to get in there early, seeing what he can make happen. Didn't really blow any summoner spells, but was able to get the lane pushed up to the turret. So Crystal will just pick up this CS and continue his massive advantage.
Yeah, we'll see whether he can take that one forward. Of course, large minion wave under his turret as well, so this is only going to stretch out is this CS advantage for Draven, as Pokemon takes a lot of damage there on the top side. Cacao did end up going back to base, not being able to find anything in that bottom lane either.
Yeah, and once again, another jungle Lee Sin electing to go for a longside before he picks up what could have been the first component of his Sightstone, and valuing that extra early game damage, looking to get into lanes to gank over what could potentially be some vision control for his team.
Yeah, we'll see whether he does continue on that path. I mean, a lot of Lee Sins will sort of just, if they have the money for a Sightstone, just pick that one up instead of the pieces of that Brutalizer. But we'll see what he does decide to go with, because of course Cacao generally does pick up that item relatively early on.
Yeah, so we see a very good patient coming through. The Evolve will come as well.
Yeah, there's the Gnar coming in as well. The Wallop coming down. Beast just comes in, takes the kill with a cute little Ice Blast. Almost unnecessary after the perfect play from Flandre.
Yeah, it certainly was a great play from Flandre to catch him out. Maybe wouldn't have had enough of the last second damage and didn't want to have to tower dive over an Equalizer. So good backup there from Beast to be able to get that going. But we mentioned the bottom lane might have a lot of action. Flandre is an extremely aggressive top laner against a very passive Pokemon. Pokemon doesn't want to fight during lane, just wants to fight, get through it, and get into the team fighting phase. But Flandre is not going to let him do it. Actually goes back and picks up a Hex Drinker as well. So he's going to be looking to get even more aggressive in this lane now.
And you can see he's also preparing to be ganked up here as well. Picks up that cloth armor, of course. Not going to be receiving too much physical damage from Pokemon, but if Kakao does come up there, he's going to need some sort of way to handle that.
And this is another case of the top and bottom lanes looking a little bit shaky at the start of the game, and Kakao not being able to impact any with a gank. He really needs to get on his bike. He's a Lee Sin. If he doesn't impact this early game, he might just fall off to the point where Nunu runs all over him.
Yeah, we'll see whether that does happen, of course. If Beast manages to get a lead as far as that vision control is concerned as well, Nunu can just run rampant along this game, not to mention the fact that his lanes are doing well.
Yeah, exactly right. He's backing off now. Wouldn't be surprised to see him pick up an early Sightstone and Boots, look to get himself involved around the map and really set up some more ganks for his team. And there it is, Bai coming out perfectly. And wow, he had even more gold than I expected. Has also picked up a pink ward and some cloth armor. So see how much control Snake want to exert over this early game and just force IG into some bad decisions through lack of vision.
Yeah, and Flandre continuing to trade with Pokemon here, who has managed to pick up that Ruby Crystal, so looking a bit tanky here as well, finally managing to get a little bit of statistical advantage over his opponent. As Kitties actually gets caught up here on the bottom side of the map, that's going to be completely flashed out of as the flash forward from Crystal. Whirling Death for first blood, and Crystal gets adored by the fans.
Yeah, straight up 2v2. We mentioned how Morgana doesn't really add much to the lane until it gets to early game, and not a fantastic result there coming out. Crystal able to cash in on all of those early adoration stacks. Really nicely done.
Yeah, and that was actually second blood, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologize, as we did have Beast taking down Pokemon in the top lane, but I got incredibly excited. And look, Draven deserves the adoration. As Snake now going to move over towards this dragon, and Beast with a lot of control over this, and especially as far as that vision is concerned. Kakao has found his way around, but you're not going to outsmart a Nunu.
Yeah, definitely not at this point in the game. Able to pick up the first dragon, the first 2 kills, so Snake off to a fantastic early start. And wow, that was a weird equalizer that was popped out of Pokemon.
Yeah, Flandre about to transform here as well, as the Hex Drinker does get procced here. He's going to get a fair bit of health back from that transformation, but Pokemon trading okay. That was a very strange equalizer, though. You are definitely correct.
So able to force Flandre back. He also has an extra visitor up in that top lane in Rookie. Rookie, of course, very good at getting around and helping his side lanes. Just trying to shove Flandre out a little bit. A lot of CS now will crash into that turret.
Yeah, and we'll see whether Flandre opts to use that teleport or whether he wants to walk back to that lane, because, of course, Dragon has been already taken, so he can afford to use it.
So he uses that teleport, and that is a massive win for IG, because Flandre doesn't normally use it for the dragon fights. He uses it for the little skirmishes around the map. So if that means that for the next 5 minutes they don't have to worry about a Mega Gnar arriving unexpectedly in their lane, they can start playing a little bit differently. Maybe even try and get Kakao into the bottom side of the map and affect a gank.
We'll see whether they do capitalize on it, because Kakao needs to make a move around 0-0-0 now. He is ahead in farm, but it doesn't matter if the rest of his lanes are losing. But Rookie's still doing okay, even after that roam, still ahead in CS.
Yeah, and once again, nice trade in the bottom lane, this time going back in Kid's favor. He's gone for a little bit of more of a poke build. I like this out of a Corky into a Draven, because he's only going for that one Phosphorus Bomb auto attack, then needs to get away. Inconsistent damage, even with a Phage, Draven's always going to win that.
Oh yeah, and this is a Draven with a BF Sword Vamp Scepter as well, so not only does he have the sustain, he's got a heck of a lot of damages. Kakao's going to make his way around here, wants to try and come in, hasn't been spotted by any of the wards from Snake.
Well, Rookie and Baka are also clashing heads over a little bit of a pink ward. He's been pinged out there, so was able to take it down. So Rookie actually performing very admirably in this mid lane, probably the only high point for his team at this point.
Yeah, we'll see whether he can continue to move on, of course. We did see Xiaohu earlier on today on that Azir performing incredibly well on that Azir, despite the fact that I didn't manage to translate that into a victory.
Oh, and again, another gank coming into this top lane.
Yeah, Mega Gnar going to come in here as well, and we're getting a little bit deja vu here on the top side as the Wallop to come in as well. Absolute Zero not going to find its Marcus Pokemon flashes, but a nice Gnar onto Pokemon into the wall. The Flamesmitter coming down, dangerous ganking a level 6 Rumble, but not going to be enough.
Yeah, and in the end, another kill onto Flandre, this time in the top lane, so they're doing an extremely good job of camping this one out, and Kakao's been rendered absolutely useless. There's wards all over the map. he hasn't been able to get anything going for himself. He's gone for the really greedy build of just finishing that warrior enchant. Has no boots and no sightstone compared to a Nunu that has boots too. He's absolutely flying around the map.
He is, and he's been able to affect ganks. You can see 1-0 and 1 already. Flandre is moving throughout this game, now has a solid CS advantage too, to the point of about 25 here in the early stages, and that's massive.
Yeah, that's absolutely huge. And Crystal has a wave exactly where he wants on his side of the river, so he's still not that safe. As soon as he wants to hard shove this with Ella, they can just go back and shop, pick up their next major item. So really, things are going at this point in the game exactly how Snake wanted. And wow.
Goodness. Look at the auto attack damage coming through from Crystal, juggling these axes beautifully. Whirling Death is available, but the teleport to come through from Pokemon does get stood aside here.
Yeah, and I don't understand what Pokemon was even going to accomplish by coming down. He has no ultimate, no flash. He's just a level 7 or 8 Rumble, level 9 Rumble that was going to come in and try and flame spitter people. In return, gives up his top lane turret to Flandre.
Yeah, sort of almost had that equalizer available, but it's entirely correct. I can't really find a good reason for him to land there, but it did save Kid's life potentially if the dive was going to come through from Crystal.
Yeah, so maybe just trying to stop a little bit of the snowball, but that's well and truly underway at this point. Crystal, 20 CS up, so 120 to 100. Able to really bully out who we compliment as probably the highlight for this IG lineup. Rookie getting ultimated from Baka, just checking to see if that blue buff was available for a cheeky Sneal.
Liked it a lot. Bloodthirster completed now for Crystal. Does have that dagger moving towards those Berserker's Greaves. Undoubtedly going to be going towards the Last Whisper as his second buy. Of course, Crystal's Draven doesn't like to have too much extra attack speed. Of course, that W giving him plenty for that one.
Yeah, so I believe he goes into the Last Whisper, then the Yomu's Ghostblade into a Trinity Force. Seems to be the build that he's been picking up.
Yeah,
so
mixing up the colors. I like it.
And really it depends on his axes being caught repetitively in these team fights. As soon as he drops one of those axes, not able to get the refreshes on the W to get the Trinity Force active going, does fall a little bit off in terms of damage. So being one of 2 damage threats on his team, needs to be careful that he's not getting dove upon by anyone in the IG lineup.
You can see already shoving down the pressure on the bottom side. Kid having to use that defensive Valkyrie as Snake going to secure themselves the Scuttle Crab, as Dragon going to be coming up in another 40 seconds. You can see they've got significant vision around that particular objective, and Snake continues to clear out wards as Crystal's so much extra shielding now with that Bloodthirster available as well.
Yeah, and I never thought I would say that the next Dragon can't be fought by a Corky Rumble composition, but there is absolutely no way they can go near that one. Flandre's too far ahead, already picked up another Giant's Belt, as well as some MR for himself, so looking to move in there. The Bloodthirster's been finished up, as well as the Athene's Unholy Grail, so everyone just in a very nice power spike. They'll grab this one away from free. IG just need to hope that they can get a top turret or something in response.
Yeah, and Flandre actually still has his teleport available, so they can take this Dragon, which is going down extraordinarily quickly, and he can just go straight back up top as Crystal is bullying 2 members here on the bottom side and tanking up the turret for no reason as well.
Yeah, so maybe takes a couple of unlucky turret shots, but credit to him because he can sit there and bully 2 people back under the turret, and now there's 4 members strong for Snake in this bottom side of the map. Rumble actually roamed down, didn't elect to try and take that turret, so Pokemon making a decision to not push that one in, is looking for a little bit of a gank, has stopped his recall a couple of times.
Yeah, just looking a little bit like a fish out of water at this stage is Pokemon. Questionable teleport, roam not quite working out for him as well. Does have that equalizer available, wants to use it now that he's strong, but never really able to find the right window.
Yeah, it isn't in a position, but it looks like they're going.
Yeah, Rookie has managed to use his ultimate as well. It's a decent equalizer, kicked over the top. Pokemon actually secures a kill onto Baka. Absolute Zero to come in here. Pokemon and Cacao take a fair bit of damage. Rookie about to go down. Flandre is going to fall for the kill though, and a nice 2-for-1 trade.
Yeah, and finally Cacao able to impact the map. What a fantastic kick, putting him straight back on top of the equalizer. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, Crystal continues to bully, but a good 2-for-1 trade going in IG's favor.
Yeah, this is exactly what IG need. They need to get some sort of win around this mid-game because they have to capitalize on what is fantastic about their team comp in this Rumble. And Pokemon able to get a little bit further forward, was 0-2, now managing to pick up a kill and an assist, so we'll be able to go back, finish off that Haunting Guise, and We'll see whether he can turn into some of the huge rumbles that we've seen coming through here in the LPL.
Yeah, certainly in a much better position than he was. Able to also pick up some free CS as Crystal continues his rampage.
Oh my goodness, just swapping targets here as Ella comes through as well. Flandre's teleported in through the backside. We know that he loves that aggressive teleport. Doesn't even have Mega Knight. He's going to happily tank this one up as the Valkyrie's going to be used. The flash from Crystal. Flandre misses the boomerang. Kid is just holding on here. Is the W going to be available? The heal to come through, and the last boomerang strike from Flandre is going to secure that one.
Yeah, not electing to give that one over to Crystal. I'm sure would have loved picking that one up, and really nice teleport coming in from Flandre. 3-1 and 2, 5 of 6 kill participation coming up absolutely massive on this Naren. I really have to question why Pokemon would go away from a very good tanky champion like Nah onto Rumble, but we'll have a look at the replay. So this is just Crystal absolutely destroying two people, and once again he's doing it through an exhaust. Flandre comes in with a great teleport, able to pick up the back-end kill, actually gives that one over to Crystal, gives the next one to himself. And they have to spend a lot of summoner spells here. Crystal, in the end, even has to heal to get themselves back into range. But in the end, well worth it, able to pick up 2 kills for nothing.
Yeah, beautiful play coming through from Snake after what was a little bit disappointing there in the mid lane for those guys, but we'll see whether Invictus Gaming can make use of that, of course. It's 0, 1, and 2 Rookie here in the mid lane against 0, 1, and 1, so the mid lane definitely going in favor of Invictus Gaming for the first time that we've seen as far as this Azir versus Xerath matchup is concerned. Yeah, and that is definitely something to hang their hats on.
Even going into more of a mid-game spike build here is Bucker picking up a Haunting Guise for himself. We normally see maybe the Death Cap come out as a second item, looking for more of that flat penetration to really get through for some mid-game damage, potentially looking towards his next dragon fight.
Yeah, and I actually really like the fact that he's adjusted towards what is needed on the map here as well. Having that extra armor penetration, magic penetration, going to have those sorcerer shoes coming through relatively soon, you could imagine. As an equalizer comes through in the top side of the map, Pokemon trying to fight around it here as well, as Flandre does not have the transformation available, but Cacao's here as well. Flandre gets kicked back. There's the Sonic Wave, decides to hop back in. The bounce from Flandre is there. He does not have Flash available, so he's going to die. And Pokemon going to be able to enjoy an assist off that as Cacao gets the kill.
Yeah, maybe a little bit unfortunate that Cacao picked that one up. Lee Sin doesn't do as much with gold, but Rumble also very good as a resourceless champion, and they do need someone tanky enough to deal with Crystal. So maybe not all bad as they donate a blue buff over. They do lose the mid lane turret for it, so they are roughly 3,000 gold behind. And a little bit of a mechanic focus there. If you looked at how Cacao attacked that gank, he kicked them, waited for them to land, and there's a little bit of a delay before he can move, before throwing out that Q. Just making sure he can line it up and hit it correctly. Gives himself a little bit more time.
Yeah, beautifully played from Cacao, but this guy is a very seasoned Lee Sin player, and I think that when they did manage to win the last OGN, of course, last year in 2014, as the Arrows, he definitely played a lot of that Lee Sin to great effect in the last 3 matches. He managed to get them that one, so beautifully done. Crystal continuing to put pressure down in this bottom side of the map. Just wants to take this bottom tower so he can start affecting the rest of the map with this huge Draven who has a 40 CS advantage and 2 big items.
Yeah, and they're really good at doing this. They make sure that they clear out the lanes in the lead up to Dragon as well. That is just an absolute massive advantage. He's 2,500 gold ahead of himself, which is everyone else is equal on the map pretty much within a couple of 100 gold of each other, except for Crystal's Draven, who's just absolutely massive. And they cleared it out well, and now they're setting up for an early another Dragon. 35 seconds left. They're actually sending Beast back, so this might be a little bit of a mistake because they've given a lot of zone control back to IG here.
Yeah, Cacao going to take those Krugs, but Snake going to be able to set up some vision here as well.
Okay, so the response to that is actually to just pick their duo lane up and rotate it into the river, and no one wants to fight these. Wow.
Oh, Rookie actually going to use that ultimate there as well. Dark Binding does go wide, but there's the exhaust to come through onto Crystal, making sure he doesn't do too much damage. Gets kicked back. Cacao picks up the kill, and Ella now in a lot of trouble. Gets smited. That shield's not going to be enough because Azir does so much damage. A double kill now for Cacao, and Flandre, the next one on the menu here for Invictus Gaming.
Yeah, and Rookie is going off in this game, having a terrific Azir game. Really set that up for his team. I said that no one would want to fight that. Rookie doesn't listen to the rules. He knows how fat he is, and unlucky to not pick the kills up for himself, to be honest. Cacao, 4-0-1 for his team. Maybe not where the gold wants to be.
Maybe not, but a kill is a kill, and that is still 4 assists on this Azir. and he's still ahead in that gold as well. I mean, in that CS as well. So doing fantastically. Needlessly Large Rod was finished off by Barker, so forgoing the boots for now, because when you've got 1,600 gold, you want to spend it on a Needlessly Large Rod. That's just generally what you want to do.
You certainly do, but not able to get those 2 kills into an objective, so not able to push into the middle turret. They will give up another Dragon here, so B's going to happily tank that one up. He is pretty tanky at this point in the game, and IG happy to just take their 2 kills, consolidate a little bit of that gold discrepancy, send their members back up into the top lane to farm up that massive wave.
Yeah, and do you think this has a lot to do with the fact that IG didn't really have the timer on this Dragon at that point either?
I think it was actually up when they got the 2 kills, so they definitely knew what was happening.
Oh,
I
wow.
think they just thought they had a little bit too low health. They didn't want to fight an extended fight with a Xerath and a Nunu just being able to frontline them. So just elected to, as I said, cut their losses. They got some wins out of that one and just go back into standard lanes.
Yeah, it just seems to me now that Snake have 3 of those Dragons as well. I mean, after that next one does go down, Snake can really pressure for this 5th Dragon, which is just so devastating if they manage to get it. And Invictus Gaming missing out on those 3 extra % of those attacking stats, which is just really important throughout the later ends of this game when the sort of multiplicative statistics are going to work out.
Yeah, it certainly isn't an ideal scenario. However, you have to think this is still just a 2 damage threat. They're playing it very well at the moment as well. Flash kick comes through.
Yeah, Beast going to get smacked back into the team. Absolute Zero is going to come through here. Everyone's knocked up. Beast still isn't dead yet. Rookie's going to pop that one, but a beautiful equalizer to zone out the team of Stake. And Crystal out the back. How is he still alive? Whirling Death comes through. He's flashing forward to pick up another kill, but unable to get it. And somehow Snake destroy that team fight.
Yeah, how did that happen? Crystal able to once again 2v1 and pick up a kill. That's a 4 for nothing. And Beast is just not the target you want to engage on. That Nunu is so tanky.
He is so huge. Still didn't die in that fight and got bursted by everything that Invictus Gaming had. Inner turret going to fall down. 4 members still dead. And they're just going to tank up this turret. Beast still wants to tank after getting destroyed. No worries at all. They're going to take an inhibitor turret at 24 minutes.
Off a team fight that IG picked as well. That wasn't them engaging. That was Cacao going in on the tanky jungler. Little bit of a misplay there and weren't able to tear him down. And there's only 2 threats on the team. You don't need to engage on anyone that isn't Barker, that isn't Crystal. Now the gold advantage up to 8,000, and there might not be a way back into this.
It's looking ridiculous. Ghostblade's now being completed by Crystal. Has a Phage as well. So it's exactly what you were talking about with the Trinity Force Draven wanting to pick up all of those axes and really have a lot of burst damage by resetting that W over and over again to get those Sheen procs. And he is so quick in these fights as well now that he has that Phage that you're never going to be able to escape from this guy. Look at him running around with that W.
Yeah, throw that Blood Boil on top of him as well and he just does so much work. I think this is a good example of why Jungle Lee Sin doesn't really need those kills. Cacao took a lot of time to die, but there just wasn't enough damage output. You throw 4 kills onto Rookie instead, and Beast doesn't survive that gank.
Yeah, and I think that it was a lot to do with Invictus Gaming not necessarily expecting Snake to all be there and join that fight. And Pokemon's Equalizer was fantastic, but just not quite enough to get them back into it.
Yeah, so as we see, Last Whisper's been picked up by Corki, so he's going to be shredding this tanky top lane. Flandre actually doesn't even have any armor.
He's got a Ninja Tabi.
That's outright a bad buy there. It's just not a gold efficient buy unless there is enough armor for it, especially with someone like Corki, who does benefit from all of that mixed damage, so probably would have been better with boots too. As they take down a turret, so that's good news.
Yeah, and set one up for themselves as well. Oh no, actually Sun Turret not going to come through. Cacao taking a lot of damage here from that Arcano
The
Pulse.
flanks coming through from Flandre.
Yeah, as per usual, the Emperor's Divide to come through to try and get everyone out of here. Crystal gets caught by Dark Binding, and he's standing in that Equalizer as well. Does get Mikhail's out of that one as we have the ultimate coming down from Barker, shredding this team. There's going to be the ult from Beast as well to follow up, and Crystal, after destroying that Rumble, is now going to be on the chase. But Flandre manages to get everyone away, and look, Crystal was down to fairly low health there, but this Bloodthirster is doing so much work. Already max health again.
Yeah, able to heal himself back through that. Didn't look like he was taking that much damage throughout. Nice ultimate pop by LPL just to top everyone off. This is in no danger of being stolen away from Beast Nunu. So another 2 for nothing trade, and they pick up the Baron off the end of it. You have to think, when you look back at the team, Cacao's been caught out.
Yeah, Cacao has been found here coming through, wanting to steal this Baron, but Barker just, yep.
He did
kills
that
him
much
in one
damage
spell.
that he didn't think he was going to kill him, that he threw another spell out. But as I was about to say, you think about to the one team fight that IG did when they were able to get that 2-for-0, where Kakao picked up the double kill, but they weren't able to translate it into objectives. Every single time Snake win a team fight, they turn it into something on the map, and that's where this massive gold leads come from.
It is just ridiculous. Crystal now going back again, picks up a Zeal for himself, has a 4,000 gold lead on his lane opponent. And I know we're talking a lot about this Draven at this stage, but that is where all of the damage is coming from, and Crystal is ridiculous on this champion.
Yeah, and Flandre's made a good adaptation to his build at this point as well. Going for a Trinity Force. We mentioned how there's not that much damage coming out of the Snake lineup if you take the Crystal Draven away and the Baka Xerath. So what is the response to that? Make sure that Flandre, being very tanky as he is, can put out persistent damage.
Yeah, and picking up that Trinity Force, he is certainly going to be doing that. Can use a lot of spells in these fights as well. So once that Sheen comes through, going to be doing a lot of work. Only needs about 1,300 gold to finish off that Trinity Force. And with a Warmogs and a Banshee's Veil as well against this predominantly magic-focused team, he's not going to be dying at any time soon.
Yeah, and the response to that is they've actually made Kid pick up some Berserker's Greaves, so going for more of an attack damage-based Corki, looking for potentially an Infinity Edge or maybe even a Bloodthirster off that. He needs to be able to shred through this front-heavy lineup, but I think that this is maybe just a little bit too little, too late at this point.
And would you say building just more flat AD would have been a better idea as opposed to this Last Whisper? I would have thought an Infinity Edge would have been the best second buy here for Corki.
Yeah, Infinity Edge maybe not, just because of how much gold that investment is. I think that he would have preferred to go something more of a mix, like a Blade of the Ruined King. Okay. I definitely agree that the Last Whisper isn't a good pickup. He needed more of a 2-item spike, and Last Whisper doesn't provide that for him whatsoever. Blade of the Ruined King would have given him the ability to shred through these tanks that don't have that much armor, as well as the ability to, I guess, kite a little bit more effectively against the Draven.
You know, we can see Snake now putting a lot of pressure on this bottom side of the map. They have barrened up creeps here as well. Invictus Gaming are prepared for a fight, but I don't know whether they quite have the stats. Yep, Flandre is in Mega Gnar form right at this moment, so wanting to teleport relatively soon or in a little while. So Snake sort of wanting to play back a little bit and make sure that Flandre can come in exactly when he wants to.
Yeah, but meanwhile, he's just going to take out the turrets by himself in the top lane. Very nicely played, just keeping pressure here, and Kakao looking for an engage. Yeah,
trying to find his way in, start something off in this 4v5 situation. Right at the Arcane to come through as well, not quite finding the targets as Flandre is able to take down the turret in the top lane. This Sun turret here is just decimated under the wrath of Crystal, and Flandre continuing his assault down here as this Gnar. And the inhibitor now almost being given up here by Invictus Gaming.
Yeah, Binding lands.
Has been caught by that Duck Binding. Kakao coming through, kicks Crystal back here as well. The Empress Divide's there, but Crystal, he's not dead. Rookie gets eliminated by that Whirling Death. That is so aptly named. The inhibitor going to be ignored here by Snake as they destroy the base of Invictus Gaming.
Yeah, the perfect engage onto the perfect member, and it's just not enough. Invictus Gaming fell 16,000 gold behind in that game, and Snake ran over the top of them.
That was so beautifully played as well, and Crystal on this Draven was exactly what we were expecting. Another incredible performance by this guy.
And another Draven performance where he hasn't been able to finish that Trinity Force. He always gets a couple of components before he just runs away with it, but wow, what an impressive mid-game coming out of Snake. They had all the early game control. Looked like IG were going to fight back when they picked up that double kill, but that one fight in the jungle really turned the tides.
It really, really did, and it involved having Draven that was just that fed as well. And we are going to go to a replay, and let's just try and focus on Crystal decimating everyone. I think this is where he goes down to in that 2v1 situation and doesn't actually die.
So this is where they get the kick onto Beast. So if we roll this one out, keep your eye on exactly how Kakao engages this one. So Beast is clearing out a ward. Kakao goes in and gets a flash kick. And if anything, if any of the gold had been on Rookie here, he would have gone down, but wasn't able to. Flandre gets a teleport in. Crystal goes extremely aggressive. 2 members are hitting him here. They use all of their ultimates and their summoner spells, and he still kills them. Meanwhile, Kakao tries to get back in to pick up a cheeky kill on the backside, but Flandre is just able to solo out Rookie, and everything went from bad to worse.
Yeah, and actually Flandre scooping up Rookie there and throwing him against the wall for the kill. It was hilarious to watch and a little bit devastating if you're an Invictus Gaming fan. But Invictus Gaming continuing their downward spiral, you have to say, and we'll see whether they can pick it themselves back up for this second match here, because Snake looking to close this one out as a 2-0, and we haven't seen them lose 0-2 yet. Not going to happen again as they go into the next match, guys. Don't go anywhere.